Hey everyone, it's Professor Clark, and we are reaching the end of Chapter 3. Yay! In this final lecture for Chapter 3, we will learn about the conjunctions I, a, and no. So how to say and but in Russian. And you might be saying, hey, but and but are two words, and you have three words there. Yes, well spotted. Russian has three words to say and or but, while English just has two words. Let's start with the conjunction I. The conjunction I is used to link two things that are the same, so it is basically and in Russian. So we could say, for example, Pasha и Masha учатся здесь. Pasha and Masha go to school here. We have two things that are the same that are being linked. There's no contrast. Masha говорит по-русски и по-английски. Masha speaks Russian and English, linking two like things with no contrast. У меня есть книга и компьютер. I have a book and a computer. Again, we're linking two like things with no contrast. Then we have the conjunction no, which is basically the same as but. It indicates one contrast. For example, Masha говорит по-английски, но плохо. Masha speaks English, but she speaks it poorly, is what that sentence means. So we have one contrast. She speaks English, but she speaks it poorly. Note that in Russian, you don't have to add the whole she speaks it. In the second clause, you just say Masha говорит по-английски, но плохо. It's much more compact. У меня есть книга, но она не новая. I have a book, but it is not new. There's one contrast. I have a book, but it is not new. Note, I use она as the pronoun to refer back to kniga, because kniga is feminine, so we are literally going to say she is not new. And finally, we have the conjunction a, which is not a conjunction we really have in English, but is probably the most used of the three. So I guess if you have doubts, maybe use a. At least that's what I do, because it's sort of the most flexible and widely used conjunction. And the conjunction a indicates two contrasts. It's similar to while or but rather in English. We could say, for example, Pasha учится в Викфоресте, а Masha учится в Илоне. And note that we have two contrasts. So we have the contrast of Pasha and Masha and the contrast of в Викфоресте, в Илоне. So we are contrasting both the subjects and the objects of the sentence. Or, for example, Masha говорит по-русски, а Женя говорит по-китайски. Masha speaks Russian, while Zhenya speaks Chinese. And in English, that conjunction could be translated as while, also and or but. But in Russian, we always use a. And again, notice we have two contrasts. We have the two different subjects, Masha and Zhenya, and then the two different things that they do, по-русски, по-китайски. We could also say, это не Alyosha, а Misha. This is not Alyosha, which is the nickname for Alexei, but rather Misha, which is the nickname for Mikhail. We will also use the conjunction a at the beginning of a sentence when we ask for more information, and this is very, very common. For example, Zhenya хорошо говорит по-китайски. Zhenya speaks Chinese well. A Natasha? And that's like saying, what about Natasha? Does Natasha also speak Chinese well? But we don't have to say all of that in Russian. We just say, a Natasha? Or, Mark живет в Chicago. Mark lives in Chicago. A Vitya? What about Vitya? Does he also live in Chicago? But again, we don't have to say all of that in Russian. That's all included in the conjunction a. We just have to say a Vitya. And so there are the three conjunctions. As always, I recommend trying to expose yourself to as much Russian as possible, because that's when you will see how these conjunctions are really used by native speakers. And congratulations on finishing Chapter 3. Chapter 3 is a bit of a doozy. It's got a lot of information in it. I know that was a lot of info dumping, but you made it through. And Chapter 4 is a little bit lighter and easier, so you can look forward to a bit of a breather while you process all the endings you encountered in Chapter 3. So onwards and upwards.